Hi, so I'm Daraja. I'm going to ask you a few questions about identity, how you define yourself, and your expressions through music. So why don't you start off by telling me how you would define your identity?
Okay, so I would define my identity as my name is Alana. I'm a third year here at San Diego State. I'm a public health major and I have a minor in chemistry. I'm a female. I'm the age of 20 and I'm Asian, specifically Filipino, and I'm from Northern California.
Okay. So besides race and gender, are there any other things you would define yourself as?
Well, I definitely use my family and my friends as a way of defining my identity. They've really shaped who I am. They've been the biggest influence on my life, and they've played the biggest role on helping me develop who I am, the things that I like, and deeper meanings as to the person that I'm becoming. And I also think that the physical environment and the different challenges that I face also really make up my identity, because when you're faced with challenges and difficult situations, how you handle those situations definitely kind of encompasses who you are and who you become after that, and who you grow, the person that you grow into.
Okay, so now we'll talk about how your culture is identified through expressions of music. So how would you say your culture is defined through music?
Like I did mention, I am Filipina. So in the Filipino culture, music is used in many ways. So specifically, it's used in dancing. They use different body movements to kind of express different feelings, and moreover, they really tell a story with their bodies, and use it to tell stories as far as how they feel about other people. But pretty much in the Filipino culture, really, music is used in dancing.
Okay. At family celebrations, are there any songs or dances that you would deem traditional?
Yeah, so before I answer that question, I think it's important to point out that I am a second generation, born in the United States. And I think it's important to mention that because I'm not as in touch as maybe a first generation born in the United States, or a Filipino immigrant. So I'm not as in touch with the Filipino culture as they might be. So I'm not as familiar with a lot of the dances and the music, but I do know some. So one example that I can give you is snickling. So this is a dance where they use sticks and tables. They kind of elevate themselves on the tables, and they use the sticks to kind of play rhythms. And when you're participating in the dance, you kind of jump over the sticks. So it kind of looks like you're playing hopscotch, but you're not. So you're moving the sticks to a specific rhythm, and that's one way that in the Filipino culture that's traditional. And then another example is at debuts or cotillion. So typically this is for a female turning the age of 18. Back in the Philippines, your entire city or your town would come on your 18th birthday and gather and have a huge celebration. One way that music is used that I know I'm really familiar with, they have a lot of rituals and different things that they do, but one tradition I'm familiar with is called the 18 candles and 18 roses. And basically they pick 18 people, 18 males and 18 females. For you dance with each of the males, and then they hand you a rose. And then while you dance with them, one of the candles kind of tells a little speech about you, says how you're valuable. So they're using music in that way to tell a story and show how much you've grown. But yeah, the dance is with someone, so that's another one example of one ritual that they do in the debut or the cotillion, using music.
Okay. So we'll go on to talk about the general history or timeline of songs or artists that you've been influenced by. So, what songs, artists, or styles of music have been influential to you throughout your life?
Um, so I think that genres kind of play a bigger role in like in where I'm from and influential on who I become. But I think rap and R&B and hip hop have played a pretty big role. I think it's important to point out, along with this, is it's where I come from. So I'm originally from kind of near San Francisco, like in the Bay Area of Northern California. So rap, R&B, and hip hop are really big genres back home, and like it was a way for me to relate to my friends, because we all really liked that music. So that's definitely been really influential in my life. But I also think that jazz music's been influential because my dad really liked to listen to it. He would play it all the time every Sunday that I would spend time with him. He would play it throughout the whole house, so wake us all up.
Who would you say you grew up listening to?
I grew up, like I said, so my dad played a lot of jazz. I listened to a lot of Sade. That was one of the biggest artists that he played every Sunday morning. I listened to a lot of like Usher, Mariah Carey, R&B, and I also listened to a little bit of house and EDM because my dad, or my not my dad, my mom listened to those artists. So one artist that she played a lot was Dead Mouse. So I listened to some of those artists growing up.
Are there any songs from high school that bring you memories, nostalgia, or euphoria?
Yeah, so Usher's whole Confessions album, as well as Mariah Carey's whole Emancipation of Mimi album, those are definitely songs that bring nostalgia. They bring back memories from high school. Those songs also kind of marked when I kind of formed my own taste of music. So growing up, you kind of listen to whatever your parents listen to or whatever your friends are listening to. But those albums kind of sparked my real interest in music and the deeper meaning behind lyrics and sounds. And then one other album that played a pretty big role for me in high school is the High School Musicals album. That's just because that brings back a lot of childhood memories, growing up, being careless, being a kid, not having to worry about things like, paying for my electric bill.
Okay. Are there any songs now that you would deem influential?
Yeah, I think that the most influential song on my life right now that I probably won't forget for a while is called Love Yours. It's on J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive album. But pretty much the song's kind of about appreciating what you have, knowing that everyone comes from a different background, but that doesn't necessarily define you. And just because someone has a lot of material things doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy. So it doesn't matter what you have or where you are, but you can still make your way and be happy.
Okay, so we'll go into talking about the intersection of music and identity politics in your life. What is your experience with identity politics?
Well, I don't really think I have a real experience with identity politics. I don't really think I have any prior knowledge with identity politics. Do you happen to have something that kind of gives me an
Yes.
idea?
So, identity politics is the tendency for people of a particular race, religion, or social background to form exclusive political alliances and move away from the norms. So, if I were to answer that question, I would probably say Solange's album, A Place at the Table, or Beyonce's Lemonade album, because it kind of talks about the struggles of being an African American female, specifically in America today. So, now, if I re ask that question, what would you say your experience would be?
Well, I don't really think there's a specific song or even an album that really relates to any of my personal experiences as far as politics. Like culture-wise, like experience-wise, I just don't think at this very moment there's anything that my specific person is struggling with. So not right now, but maybe in the future there will be a song that kind of relates to what I'm going through.
Okay. Are there any songs you can think of that can relate with your political views right now?
So I think that, there's a couple songs and albums that come up, like, of course, Beyonce's Lemonade album, I definitely think resonates with me as well, but I think that it's also important to notice that your views on politics change a lot, very drastically, over the years. So I definitely think the songs that I say now and the albums I say now probably aren't going to be the same that I say in like 10 years or 5 years from now, just because I've experienced different things. And in high school, I didn't even really have a political view or any idea of what even politics was. Watching the news didn't really mean anything to me. Hearing what the government had to say about change didn't mean anything to me either. But now I've kind of, since I've gone to college, I've grown a little bit and moved away from my parents. I've met different people, had different conversations about world news, what's going on, change that needs to happen. I've grown kind of views on immigration, police brutality, equal access to public health, as well as women's rights and feminism. So Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly album probably resonates with me a lot, as well as I think one song that kind of embodies the idea that I want to promote, like equity as far as politics go, is We Are the World by Michael Jackson.
Perfect. Well, thank you for all of your answers, and I will send you, for sure, I will send you the finished product of this interview. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.